So, we used to go to malls and there'd be big fountains in the middle, as the sort of main attraction, but now it's more like Mickey Mouse and SpongeBob. Tell us about this new trend.
And thank you, there's a lot of reasons for that. Malls right now are facing a lot of pressure from at least a couple of different fronts. One, there's been a lot of overbuilding over the past few decades. We have too much retail space in the U.S., but even more importantly, and anybody can guess this, are online sales. The Amazons and the eBays are really putting a dent in American malls. So the answer to that is for mall owners to become less just landlords and more what some people call placemakers. You've got to bring in the sort of tenants that offer things that people cannot do online. And in a lot of cases, that means more service providers like nail salons, definitely more restaurants. And one of the key answers to that is play areas, somewhere where people can bring their toddlers that can play in a safe and, believe it or not, clean environment. And when you go past a play area in most malls, it's a relatively small clientele in number, not just size, but very dedicated. And a lot of parents will bring their kids to these play areas multiple times a month, which is exactly what the mall owners are shooting for.
And we're looking at this right now, and we're not talking about just a room with some blocks and some books or something. I mean, these are huge, built-out structures almost that kids can get on. I mean, they're really investing a lot of money in here, so there must be a payoff in luring people in.
Exactly. I mean, just about 15 to 20 years ago, the play area was basically maybe a couple of coin-operated rides shoved in an out-of-way corner of the mall. But now these things, at least the most common version of them, can cost anywhere from $50,000 to $500,000, wow, with the average being about $135,000. Most of them are climbing structures that are made out of a proprietary mixture of foam and rubber so that they're soft. They're coated in a polyurethane plastic resin so that they're easy to clean. They're antibacterial, and usually the malls will close them down 2 or 3 times a day to wipe them down, because germs are a primary concern of parents.
Sure.
But they're very elaborate, and we're talking about sizes of anywhere up to 2,500 square feet in size, which can be about a dozen climbing structures within the play area, which makes them pretty elaborate. The cost to the mall owner, as we talked about, can be pretty steep,
right,
but most mall owners will get a sponsor, usually a local hospital, to cover the cost of some of these play areas in order to have their name and their message in some areas around the play area in sort of a discreet way, so that's not overbearing. So it doesn't always end up being a money loser for the mall owner.
And I imagine safety would be a huge issue for these, because they're not, they don't provide babysitters necessarily. Mm-hmm. And also, if parents are having to watch their kids then in the play area, are they really spending money then in the stores and restaurants surrounding?
It's a great point. And what the fine line the mall owner has to balance is, most of them will not provide a full-time attendant, and the reason why is they don't want to incentivize parents to just leave their child there and wander off and go shop somewhere. You want to have the child, the parent, in the area. So even though you only have one entrance so kids can't escape, the most supervision a mall owner will probably do is have a security guard go by every once in a while. Otherwise, parents are on their own as far as policing larger children that happen to come in or any sort of spills that happen. But what they'll usually do is surround the mall play area with merchants that cater to what the parents there might need. You'll always see a pretzel shop, sometimes a frozen yogurt shop. Gymboree will usually be around the play area. In cases I've seen, a Macy's that put their cosmetic counter out there right in front and center, so that not that the parent will wander away and shop,
right,
but they'll take their kids over there, get them something to eat, and then bring them back so that they can play in the play area while the parent eats,
right,
or reads a book.
And I bet getting them in the door is just half the battle. So if they've got the playroom, they can get them to come in, certainly. Thanks, Kris, so much for joining us. It's an interesting trend. We'll keep an eye on it, and people can read more about that online as well.